Hello, I am not John Green, but I'm going to try to be him today. And today we are talking about Songhai and its rapid expansion and decline. Let's go over to the desk. Songhai's expansion was rapid, and at its peak it was utopia, with no major conflicts until European arrival. Roll that intro. Before we talk about Songhai's expansion, here is some history about it. Context. Sorry, it's allergy season. Songhai was one of the largest empires in African history, and it ruled during the 15th and 16th century, and more specifically from 1464 to 1591. However, Songhai had existed as a state, just not as an empire, until the fall of the Mali Empire. And during its statehood, in the 11th century, it centered itself around a river city called Gao. Let's go to the thought bubble. Gao was a powerful and wealthy political center located along the trans-Saharan trade routes near the north bend of the Niger River. The city served as the capital city of Songhai from the 11th century until its fall. Even as a growing city, it was politically separate from the Mali Empire. It was also the center for Islamic study during the end of the Songhai Empire. The advantageous location of Gao along the Niger River provided abundant natural resources, such as fish, a secure water source for irrigation and travel, and annual deposits for silt for fertile land, as well as being able to tax the trans-Saharan trade and participate in it. Mali had strengthened the trading connections of Gao, Djenné, and Timbuktu, all of which were once ruled by the Songhai dynasty. And one more important factor. When the Songhai dynasty ruled, it wasn't just one crown being followed. There were multiple kingdoms that ruled underneath the name of the Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire expanded and sustained itself due to the weakening of Mali, a strong military, a great government system, and economy. Mali's empire covered a vast amount of territory, and its weakening because of a gap in successions was the perfect opportunity for the Songhai people to stay in Gao to expand. Over the course of 100 years, they took the control of what used to be known as the Mali Empire. Second is the strong military. Songhai, the first ruler, made sure that the military was strong. He reshaped it and improved it. He was the ruler and also the military commander. An organization devoted to South African history pictures the military like this. Foot soldiers captured the best men of the defeated armies. An elite cavalry was fast and tough. They wore iron breastplates underneath their battle tunics. The foot soldiers were armed with spears, arrows, and leather or copper shields. Military music as produced by a group of trumpeters. The whole army comprised of 30,000 infantry and 10,000 horsemen. The Songhai defense system was the largest organized force in Western Sudan. That just gives a sense of the enormity of the empire. They had troops on the Niger River, and the commander of that group was actually called the Master of Water. Oh, Mr. Malay, is that about the waterbenders and the Fire Nation attacking us with that? Oh, me from the past, how upset you will be to know that Netflix still doesn't have Avatar. Anyways, after Songhai's death, his son took over and was quickly replaced by the Askir ruler, Muhammad Touré. Askir rulers make up a large part of Songhai's history, and Muhammad Touré is a big chunk of it because he made such drastic and efficient changes to the empire. He was a Muslim, and so he brought and spread Islam throughout the empire. He greatly added to the stability of the empire because he built a system of mayors, governors, and the Sharia law throughout. He also helped education by expanding the Sankore University and created other schools and places of education within the empire. This strengthened government connected Songhai with the rest of the Muslim world and, quote, encouraging the immigration of scholars and skilled workers from Arabia, Egypt, Morocco, and Muslim Spain. This monumental step allowed for the surplus of resources for Gao to trade on, like cola nuts, gold, ivory, spices, palm oil, woods, and more importantly, slaves. Local markets helped merchants on long-distance trade routes, and internal trade flourished during this time. They would collect taxes and tributes from their kingdoms. Slaves were important for the economic development within Africa. This is not the Atlantic slave trade yet. Slaves helped with the infrastructure and economy and were an integral part to the system. They were also used as soldiers, and some even had government positions. There was a separate group of slaves called the Arbi, and they manufactured all the goods in Gao. Our next major event will be contact with the Europeans. A kingdom by the name of Asante from Songhai produced gold, which was sought after by the Portuguese. The Asante offered their gold, and the Portuguese then offered slaves from Benin. And with the economy thriving, that meant more slaves were needed in Asante. And eventually, after Benin abolished the slave trade, the Portuguese demanded slaves from the Asante people. This forced them to raid other African civilizations in order to feed the European demand. The slave trade largely led to the fall of the dynasty because the flow of resources through the European trade routes meant that they could not tax and collect tributes. Moroccan invasion in 1591 led to the definitive collapse of the Songhai Empire, more specifically the Battle of Tondibi, where outnumbered Moroccan soldiers seeking the revival of the trans-Saharan trade defeated Askia Ishaq II. The Songhai Empire rose to power quickly and created and sustained a trading utopia until the arrival of the Europeans. That's all. Thank you for listening. My name is Rishi Malay. Our head researcher is Gavin Passanisi. Our set designer is Mark Matula, and our editor is Ajax Small. Thank you for listening.